All right, so I want to talk about, I'm gonna give you five tips that are going to help you. That's in the tattoo industry or any other business. It does not matter. It's going to transfer over to any other business. However, I'm going to specifically talk about my experience with the tattoo industry and that kind of what sets us apart and what helps us the most. Now, some of these things are they're going to go into each other a little bit, but I separated them for distinctive reasons for you for this video. The first thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about consistency. Consistency is so important, right? If you do something day in and day out, here's the crazy thing. You don't even necessarily have to be better than your competitor if you always show up, right? A lot of times it's very aggravating and very annoying when a customer is trying to reach you for your product, your service, or whatever it is you provide, and they can't get a hold of you. Like, if you're not at work or you're not available, they're going to go somewhere else. Point blank, period. That's all there is to it. Now, every once in a while, you'll have some exceptions to that. You'll have some that will wait for you because they believe in you or they want you and desire you specifically so much. We'll get into that later. But for the most part, the average person that's coming to you for your product, your service, whatever it is you provide, consistency is key. Look at all of these other stores, right? Let's give very good prime examples. Let's say Dollar Generals. Dollar Generals are everywhere. I read somewhere, and I don't know how true this is or how factual, but I read somewhere that their game plan, their business strategy was to have one Dollar General every 7 miles, and to have them open 7 days a week. Now, again, I don't know if that's factual or not, or if that was just, some bullshit I read somewhere, but, it really, really, really strikes to the truth. Because they're consistent and they know that if they are open, if they are readily available, just like all these other convenience stores. I mean, shit, it's in the name, convenience store. If they are available, they're going to go to you. That's the key, right? That is the biggest takeaway. I remember watching this other shop. I'm not gonna say names or anything, but I remember watching this other shop in my local town, and he's not the best, right? It's where I started off at. He wasn't the best. But he had customers coming in and day out, and I wondered why, and I was watching, and I realized the reason he had so many customers, there's a few other reasons that impacted that, but the biggest reason that set himself above everything else was simply consistency. He showed up day in and day out. You have to pay respect where respect's due, and in that case, respect's due for that, man. He showed up. There's nothing more annoying, and I know we've all been through this, and don't get me wrong, I understand sometimes things happen, but if it happens consistently, all over the board, then it's going to be a problem. But if a customer comes up to your place of business, or you go to another place that's supposed to be open, and you see the open signs off and the doors are closed, and you call them and you can't get a hold of them, you message them, well, you've done everything in your power to reach out to them to in this case, what I'm specifically really talking about is tattooing, to get a tattoo, and you can't get a hold of them even to book an appointment. Nobody ever replies to you. That's super, super inconsistent. They're going to get tired of that. They're going to go to the place that's ready and willing. It's just a fact of life. Consistency is extremely important. Consistency. So you need to stay consistent. Now that transfers over to a few other things. We'll get into that. But point two is, if you want to really step it out from the rest of the crowd, and I know this should be a no-brainer, but it seems like so many places fail at this, but cleanliness. Be clean. So I'm going to give you another prime example. Another shop I was talking about, man. I'm not saying that it has to be extremely sterile when they walk through the door, but it needs to be pretty obvious that, first off, first impressions are everything, right? Whenever they walk through the door, I'm not saying that you need to be dressed to the T. You can be dressed very comfortable. I mean, look at me. I'm wearing like gym shorts and a tank top today. I'm not dressed up per se. I'm just comfortable. But if a person looks at me, it's very obvious to tell that, I take care of myself, that I shower, I wash my teeth, I have clean nails, I brush my teeth, and all these things. Like, my personal hygiene's on point, right? And I know that's so funny, and people are going to laugh. They're going to be like, oh, whatever, but man, nobody wants to be in the personal bubble of another individual that is nasty. I mean, that's just a fact of life. And so many people, if you walk in there and you see two people standing next to each other, right? And let's pretend that you know nothing about these individuals. Let's forget about the environment that you're in and all these other factors for a second. But if you walk in there, you see two individuals, right? One individual is dressed in almost identical clothing. They're both wearing like blue jeans, you know, a decent t-shirt, whatever. But one individual, it has a decent haircut. You know, they obviously are clean looking. They don't have stains all over their clothes. You know, it's not like crazy wrinkled. Not necessarily wrinkle free, but not crazy. They look very presentable and clean, right? Then the person next to that individual is wearing pretty much the same stuff, except they've got ink stains all over their pants and their shirt, and their nails are, you know, dirty, and their hair is unkempt. And, you know, who are you going to be more inclined to want to talk to? 9 out of 10 times, you're going to want to talk to the person that looks more approachable, that looks a little bit more kept and more clean, right? That's just a fact. Now, that has, and the point with that is that it has absolutely nothing to do with either one of their abilities to perform, right? It has nothing to do with pretty much any other factor except your first impression of that individual. Now, that transfers over also to the environment. A lot of places, and for whatever reason, tattoo shops can be the world's worst about this. Especially what I was just talking about. They think that, man, I'm a tattoo artist. I can do whatever the hell I want to do now. I can dress how I want to, look how I want to. It does not matter. I don't have to brush my hair, blah, 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 blah. And maybe that is true to some extent for some individuals. I don't know. But I will say from personal experience that I disagree. That I think if you want to step it out and stand up and step out and show out from the rest of the crowd, then be clean and be presentable. So that goes also to your shop. We've all been in these shops that are just cluttered and riddled with crazy shit. It looks disgusting. It doesn't look like they mop the floors ever, or they sweep and mop, or they, you know, the windows are dirty and there's fingerprints all over them, and the front door's got fingerprints all over it, and there's food laying around or whatever constantly, and there's, you know, you got kids running around with no shoes on and blah, 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 you know, and it's just the world's worst nightmares. There's dogs in there pissing and shitting on the floors, and, you know, we all have these horror stories that we've seen and experienced in other shops. We don't want that in our shop. Now, I'm not saying it has to be perfect. You know, prime example with ours right this second. We're trying to step it up in our own areas. But because of things that we're constantly doing, like there's pink buckets in a couple places in the shop and stuff like that. We actually have one room that's full of storage. But yet, we still get constant, and I mean constant, people coming in and saying they can't believe how clean it is, how nice it smells, you know, how clean we are. Like, these things are really things that people say to us consistently, and it means the world to us because we try our best. And we're constantly improving on this because we realize, first off, we want to be in a nice kick-ass environment ourselves because we're there so much. I mean, I would argue I'm there more than I am home, sadly. So, but also, too, these people want to be in a nice place when they come in, you know, and they see this, and because they compliment it so much, and they explain the difference and experience that they've had going to other tattoo shops. So that tells me that it is vital, right? If I want to stand out from the rest of these people with me and my team, then this is what we have to do. And we don't mind doing it. So, you know, second point, tip number 2, like I said, is just cleanliness. So if you want to stand out from the rest of the crowd and you want to be above par, which you should be wanting to do, then you need cleanliness. Now, let's talk about tip 3. This is important to me and it drives me crazy. Customer service, right? Customer service is one of them things that is just, for whatever reason, and I don't know if maybe it's in just every, you know, every professional area that there is out there. Maybe there's just some of these people, but it seems like to me in the tattoo world that there is just a lot of people that seem to have stick up their ass, right? They really do. I don't have a better way to explain it, so I'm just going to say it like it is. I have even dealt with this in the past with other tattoo shops. It's like they are just too fucking good to talk to you. They don't want to put the time and energy in their day to sit down with you because you're not that much value to them. And that's how they'll make you feel. Like it's a fucking burden for them to conversate with you and to answer your questions and stuff like this. That is absolutely absurd, and I just 1,000%, 100% disagree with that. I think that's just the most crazy shit I've ever experienced or heard in my life, and it's a constant problem. It's a constant problem. It is always happening. I mean, all the time in the tattoo world. Like, guys, I don't know what y'all think, but you know, this is a conversation I've had with somebody in the past. But listen, that one person that comes in, okay, that doesn't even get a tattoo, that comes in, they talk to you about some things, takes a few minutes out your day, you know, they ask some questions, and they might not never come back. But you know what they might do if they have a good experience because you have good customer service, or when they call. I've had so many people call and they'll be like, hey, you know, the reason we chose you is because you was nice on the phone. The other people wasn't. Like, what the hell? Like, why are they being rude to you? So unless the customer is being rude first, or, you know, or whatever, and even in that case, sometimes we try to give them a little bit of leniency. I'm not saying we have to kiss their ass, but we need to be a little lenient because we don't know what they're going through. And a lot of times, in my experience, once you kind of talk to them, it's like, oh, okay, we assess the situation, then we have a great time. But why the hell are they being rude to you to begin with? Like, who pissed in their Cheerios, you know? Whatever you have going on at home, if you have an issue at home or whatever it is, does not need to be transferred over to your job. You need to understand these people are valuable, and they're important, and they're the reason that you have the lifestyle that you have, and I'm hoping that you have a great one. And if not, then make some changes, you know, because it's not their fault. Have your customer service on point. So whenever somebody reaches out to you and they message you, I'm not saying you have to go into hour-long conversations with people, and sometimes you have to kind of take a step back from some things because sometimes it gets to be a little much, and I get that too. But if these people are giving you the time of their day to come ask you questions, then answer them. Try your best. Make them feel important, because they are important. They're very valuable. They're very important. And believe it or not, to a point, you need them in your life, because without them, you don't have a career. Without them, you're screwed. You don't have nothing. So please, take the time out of your day. Answer their questions. Be polite, even when it's a pain in the butt, and learn to where to draw the line in the sand at, because you will learn that you'll have, even if they don't get a tattoo or they only get one in a lifetime, they'll tell their friends, right? When I look at a person and they come to me and they talk to me about a tattoo, I don't think to myself, oh, I'm going to make $120 off this one person every single game. I don't even think that at all. I think, great, I'm getting to talk to this person. I might get a potential tattoo, but you know what I am going to get over time? As time goes on, I might not never be able to know their names, but I'm going to get 3 or 5 or 10 or 20 of their friends and their family. And that's going to add up to a very big thing in the future. And it does. It adds up. So customer service needs to be above par. Again, you really need to step that up, because so many people lack that and don't understand the vital importance of it. All right. Now, let's go to tip number 4. Number 4, guys. Presence. Now, what I mean by this is, simply put, you need to think of, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, right? But I would think this kind of goes along with branding and, you know, so forth. Like, you need, how do you want the world to see you? And now in today's day and age, we use so many things. Google, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, whatever. Just the way that your place of business, in this case tattoo shops, look from the outside and the inside, your presence, the way that people see you, right? So what normally I first think about when I think of this is just online presence, the aesthetic look. What do you want it to look like? That's important. But so if you think about that, try to find, like, and look around, like go on Google if you need to. You know, let's say if you own a landscaping company, right? You don't just want you to drive around some shitbox truck forever with no signs on it, you know, and people not know who you are. So let's just say that you pretend for a second. Let's say, and I commend you if this is you, okay? I'm not talking shit absolutely at all. I 100% commend you, and you're amazing. If this is you, if you start off right now, right, and you say, okay, I'm going to start a landscaping company. All I have enough money right now to buy a used little lawnmower, weed eater, edger, a little used trailer, a little used truck. And that's pretty much all the money I got, okay? As soon as you can, and I mean, if not right away, immediately, the first little few dollars you make, you need to go get some signs. First off, you need some things on your truck. People need to know who you are, because your presence matters. You need to get some t-shirts, some work shirts with your business name on it. People need to know when you're walking around, this is who you represent. You represent, in this case, if you're the owner, yourself, but you represent you. So people need to know who you are if you're going around and actively doing business. I'm not saying you need it on your personal vehicles and stuff. Right now, for example, with me and my personal car, I choose not to have these things right this second. I've been considering it, I don't know, but when I'm not doing personal things necessarily, I don't want people always hounding me about, you know, what it is I do for a living, right, necessarily, because a lot of times I'm spending quality time with my family, and that's extremely important to me. But whenever I'm at my place of business, or when I'm actively doing any business related things, I need people to know me, and I need them to be able to find me. So that's where this also comes into play. This is extremely important, guys. Make sure that you use every avenue as the best of your ability. And if you don't know what you're doing, hire somebody. Find a friend, a relative, a professional that you can pay, whatever it is, whatever it takes, but find somebody that does know what they're doing that can help you do this. First off, I will say from personal experience, we get most of our business from word of mouth, right? And believe it or not, Google. I have people that literally over the last few weeks, I mean, I've had people that's found me from YouTube, which is crazy because I don't even have that many followers on this stuff, right? But I have people that follow me on, that found me on YouTube. I had a client come in because they seen a video that I shared on Facebook, and they started following me. I had clients that found me on TikTok, all kinds of things, right? So with us, for example, for our main business, our presence matters so much, because in the community we do things constantly that we as much as we can afford to do to push our presence out there. Like we donate things, which we don't always like put our name on things, because when we donate, which is probably a very bad practice, you know, and we should, but I'm trying to do this from the heart most of the time. It's not always like a business, you know, decision. A lot of times we just want to help people. So I don't always put our name on things like that, but we should, okay? So, but we do things in the community. We put our name out there as much as possible in the general community. We also make sure that it's very easy to tell when you drive by, this is who we are, what we do. We're actually about to step up our game on that aspect. Google, we constantly ask for reviews for Google and Facebook. We actually do something where at the first of the month, every month, we pick a random person and we give a $50 gift card for one Google review and one Facebook review. Just a random person. I just go in there and literally close my eyes and click, pick somebody's name. It's nothing fancy, right? But we give out that $50. When, what is that? That's not going to kill us, right? But they'll come in, they'll get something cool, they'll add that, you know, they'll probably add some money to it and get something even bigger or whatever, but they, but you know, that helps, right? So we have, in our community, we, I believe we're a 5-star rating on Google and Facebook, and we have well over 100 reviews on both, and we're growing constantly. So we're doing very, very good. Our Google presence is very good. It's very clear and easy to tell who we are, what we do, and where we are and where we do it, right? That's on Google, Facebook. We have our Instagram. We have a custom website that we generated that we host through Wix. We pay like a yearly thing for it or whatever. And we have our Facebook, Instagram, like I said, TikTok, and then all of our individual people like me, I'm the owner. We also have other artists and our peers here. They all have their own social media devices that they push these things through. So their presence matters as well. So we have a huge presence that we try to grow. Because if people cannot find you, then they will never come to you, right? It's just simple as that. So your presence really matters. And now let's go to tip number 5. Now, tip number 5 actually takes all of that stuff I just talked about and combines it into one, right? One singular thing. But for tip number 5, we're going to talk about professionalism. Now, this is extremely important. The reason I put this one at the end is because all the things I talked about are included in this and much, much more. Keep it professional. Now, let's say in our field, in the tattoo world, it's very, 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 very common that people do not act very professional. The environment is very playful. There's people doing crazy shit, you know, all this other things. And for whatever reason, whether it be through they don't believe that there's a necessity for it or whatever, it does not matter, but they don't act very professional. And because of this, they lose a lot of clientele. I've had so many people compliment us on this constantly. They always say that we're the most professional shop that they have ever dealt with, right? That is extremely important, right? We keep it professional. I'm not saying that we don't joke and talk shit and have fun and all these other things, but when I say it, I mean it. We keep it very professional. We deal with you as professionals. And what does that mean exactly? So first off, we have set rules that we keep in place and that we have in place that we live by. Not saying that they can't be bent a little bit sometimes, but we do things in a matter that these rules are what sets us apart, because it sets a standard for us. We only use the best of the best when it comes to our equipment, you know, the things that we utilize, like in our industry with Tattoo World, it'd be our tattoo machines, our inks, our needles, blah, 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 right? So all these things, we use very professional grade equipment and supplies. The way that we interact with our clients, every single time they come in, they get treated the same way. Like I said, we're very consistent. We, when they come in, they know that it's very easy, that we have a very professional way of contacting and communicating with our clients. They reach out to us. We even reach back out to them through automated systems that we put in place. Like we have, for example, I'll give you some examples. So we use SquareUp text message and email marketing and social media marketing as one of our tools, of one of many. So we actually have automated posts that go out to these people and they email them. We have, whenever people want to schedule an appointment, right? Let's say if they want to schedule an appointment and it's Thursday at 2 a.m. because of their job, they're at work and they want to schedule, they can do so. We have an online booking system. It's very professional, it's very clean, it's very sleek, it's easy to use. If they want to come in, they know that they can come in. Our shop, the way we have everything organized and set up, we are open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're always there. There's somebody, it is very, very rare for the shop to be closed. Not saying it isn't sometimes. We all have life going on and families, but for the most part, I would say 85% of the time or more, we are open for business. When we say we're open and we're available, I keep the, if you call us, we have obviously a professional, I created it, but as professional as I can make it sound, at least, voicemail system. You know, if you call, you can leave a voicemail and I'll check it. I'll return to you in a timely thing. I try to make sure that if you reach out to us, whether it be if you go on our website and leave a contact form and it sends the email to me, or if you go on our Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, or you text us or email us or whatever it is, and all these places and more, do we get in for people contacting us, that at least within 3 days I get with you. Now, so what I do is I sit down, I try to at the end of every day, sometimes I'm a day or two behind, but I try never to get 3 days behind, right? It's my goal. 72 hours is my goal. At least 72 hours I catch up with everybody. So now I'll send you a reply, and sometimes if I know I'm going to be a little backed up because I'm super, super, super busy, then I'll even tell you. I'll be like, hey, you know, just bear with me. We're super busy. I'm doing my best. But bear with me and I will reply with you. And as long as you do that, you don't leave people, like they say, on red and, you know, open their messages and not reply, or reply and then not reply for 3 weeks again, then they're very understanding, you know. So you're keeping it very professional. And because you're being so professional, so consistent, so your bedside manners are so good, so your customer service is on point, and your customer, your presence is there, so they're able to find you, they know who you are, they know what you do and all that, and you're keeping it super professional, you will stand out. Most of the people in the industry are not going to take the time to do all these things. It's crazy. I'm not saying there isn't people that do all these things and more, because there are. There are a lot of amazing companies out there, especially tattoo shops. I mean, there's some amazing artists, amazing business-minded individuals that are with these companies that do amazing jobs, you know. Or maybe not even so much business-minded, but they just go all out and they do their absolute best every single time, and they do an amazing job. But if you look around, let's say there's I'm going to say hypothetical number, let's say 1,000 tattoo shops out there. I guarantee you, if you just implement these 5 things, you're going to stand out from at least 80% of them right off the bat. You're like, it's so easy. Like, it sounds so crazy, but it's really that easy. So implement these 5 tips, and I promise you, you will notice a difference. And if you have any other questions or whatever, make sure, ask me in the comments. If you'd like to hear more about these things, I'll, you know, talk more about these and I'll explain what we do, what we found that works and what doesn't, and we'll go in a little more detail. And as always, like and follow, subscribe. You're amazing. God bless. I hope y'all have an amazing day.